That was awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right. Hi, guys. Welcome back to PunKrap, etc. on, I always go to see WPIR. Nope, that's not where we are. To Gov's Comedy Club Radio. I'm MJ, and this week we have guest Jariah and drummer Cole, whose last name I forget. I know that you're just Jariah as your stage name, but Cole.
Yeah, it's Cole.
Yeah, just Cole.
It's Cole.
Sounds good.
Small stroke.
I think if you get popular enough, you kind of can just
You can
claim
just go
that
Cole.
name for yourself.
Just Cole, yeah. So Jariah is a singer-songwriter musician from the Bronx, New York. I met Jariah during my senior year at Pratt Institute. I worked at WPIR Pratt Radio, as I have mentioned many a time on this show. And during this hour lull between when I was working one of the shows and then my show, I would have a little bit of time, just an hour with no show, where I'd be sitting in the Pratt Radio, and there is a chapel at Pratt right next door with, I think now not a piano, but there used to be a piano in there.
True.
And Jariah would be in there, or rather some mystery man would be singing and playing piano during this lull. And so I remember being who the fuck is this? Who's in here? And I didn't want to you don't want to poke your head in just because I don't want to be creepy or anything. So I would just kind of open the Pratt Radio door and listen. And there was one specific night where you played right after Billie Eilish's album came out, and you just played the whole thing through.
I
was
we were both in there.
Yeah, I think I was there.
Yeah.
There you go. I remember being who the fuck? And I was okay, I have to ask. So I went around to Pratt Radio being have y'all ever heard this kid singing anytime in
Especially learned the entirety of Billie Eilish's album in one night.
Yeah. So I was all right, I gotta know who this is. And then after that, I would just DM you and be nice. I'm thanks for playing some good stuff. And you have a very similar music taste to me, so you'd play some good MCR Panic stuff, and I'd always be who the fuck is this? And so that's how I got to know who you are. But that's my story, but I'd love to hear your backstory on how you got started as a musician and everything, and yours as well afterwards.
Getting started, man. When did that start? I mean, okay, so I guess the beginning. I should run closer.
Yes, just for now.
Yeah. So the beginning of that was as a kid, I really.
I am living my own life over here. Mind your business.
Don't mind me.
Thumped my way over.
I didn't really like music much as a kid, honestly. I didn't really get it, I guess. My dad was really into reggae, which I appreciate now. But I definitely can see the progression. Mm-hmm. But as a kid, I never really got into music. They'd force us to sing in school and in music class, and I was always you know. But
yeah.
Then, I don't know why, but I was always into visual art. I wanted to draw. I wanted to be a comic artist or something like that. And my sister, actually, my mom and dad got her this little first act piano for Christmas. It was pink and so tiny. There were 20 keys on it or something. And
me not knowing how many keys are actually on a piano. Yeah, so tiny.
At least
81.
20.
20, if not more.
If not more.
Sometimes less.
Sorry, go on.
And this was completely she wasn't into music or anything, so she receives this piano and she's I don't know what to do with this. So they just put it in at the time we shared a room. So it was well, this is our piano now.
Yeah.
So I just kind of commandeered it. I was playing around with it a little bit, and I was wait, this is kind of fun. So what did I learn? The first song I learned was "I'm Blue," Eiffel 65.
Wow, what a good throwback.
Yeah.
And we haven't covered that yet.
God,
Tonight may be the night, folks.
We've covered the Drake and Josh theme, but we haven't covered. No, it was the iCarly theme. Never
The
mind.
iCarly theme, we did do that.
But we haven't done I'm Blue.
Oh no, that would be so full circle.
Listen.
Yeah, but it started there, and then the Mario theme, and I didn't understand. I didn't know the keys of the piano, so I'd watch people play it, and I would write down a list of where the keys are, like it'd be like first he played the like one to the left of like the three, and had these long paragraphs describing how to play this song.
Sheet music be damned.
No sheet music.
Literally, did he not know there is an alphabet?
Exactly. And at this point I was like 9, I think, and eventually I was like, wait, this is like fun. Like I got really into the piano, so I got my own. My parents got me one over the summer. I took piano lessons and all that. So that was the whole deal. I got very into that. I've been playing piano for like almost 10 years now.
Awesome.
And
Because you're 19, 20? 20?
19.
Okay.
Yeah. And then eventually I my like 6th or 7th grade teacher, like he was really cool. We got like a new music teacher every year because they'd always get laid off or quit.
Okay. New York.
Yeah. But eventually we got Mr. G, and he was like the coolest dude. He like, you could tell he really cared about like just music. Like he wasn't a music teacher, he was like a musician.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had like this like crazy like weird viral video where he played like this Lady Gaga song on like 5 instruments at the same time or something like that.
I'm gonna look this up when I go home. That's cool.
Yeah, he was really into the whole like, you know, internet music thing as it was getting happening. Cool. And he wanted to like produce, you know, so he like downloaded FL Studio and started messing around with it. And he like just came up to me in class one day. He was like, "Oh, you should check out this like program called FL Studio. It's really cool. You could get like a free trial." I've been making like little like 8-bit songs on it. You know, I think you'd find that fun. And
how old were you at this point?
11.
Okay.
10, cool. 11. So I was
like middle school, like the worst time.
Yeah,
hey.
rough time. But he was like a beam of light.
8-bit beats.
8-bit.
That's the start. Like
at your worst moment.
Yeah, no, that first song is still on my YouTube channel. It's called Electrolyte. It's 20 seconds long. It's like it's the most chaotic. Like there's like just kick drums everywhere.
Wait. I don't think I've actually heard this.
Oh, you can.
Hold up.
I'll show that to you sometime. It's called. If you want to find it, it's called Electrolyte.
I need to hear this.
It was actually under my old.
Oh, what was your old name?
Shiny Sword Storm.
Oh, okay.
Imagine we release like a little.
Honestly, I think we should put it on the next album.
Interlude.
Oh dear, this is not gonna come up easier.
We'll search
well, there's you.
That's me.
No, okay.
Search. Okay, well you have my name there. Search Electrolyte after it. Is the title of the song.
Electrolyte.
See, and I got so.
Is there like a Y in it or something?
Oh, there's an I.
Oh, I can't spell.
I made it the most complicated thing ever.
I don't see.
Huh? Why is it not? Maybe if you put Shiny Sword Storm together. Okay, how about while I'm talking,
either way,
I'll just send you the link.
Okay, sounds
and
good.
I'll continue this story.
Yeah.
So, basically, I got really into producing, and at the time, I was like simultaneously getting into a lot of like emo stuff, and like I found like A Fever You Can't Sweat Out and all that, but I was also getting super into like dance music and like electronic stuff. Dubstep was huge when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
Skrillex was like my favorite human, and to this day, I like love that man. I admire
I'll take it.
Like more. And I got so into his stuff. I was like, I want to make things like that. So that was like the plan for a while. Like I was gonna, I released a couple of tracks like here and there, of like little dubstep and like other weird subgenres of dance. Because I still had this like aversion to singing, which is weird because people had told me I was like good at it. It never occurred to me that like I was. I think they just like liked that I was like loud because I just had like a naturally loud voice and nobody wanted to sing loudly. They're like, please, somebody.
Specifically in like middle school chorus. Yeah, like they always want that.
And I was always just like, gross. I don't want to do all that.
Yeah.
But the way I got into actually singing was not until senior year of high school. Actually, we had theater at my school. And I never wanted to join just because, like, at this point, the idea of singing seemed cool. Because, like, at this point, I was getting into, like, I was already super into, like, MCR and, like, Panic and, like, all these bands, like, these amazing vocalists. And I was like, they're doing something. I want to be doing that. But I can't because I don't know how. So the idea of singing popped into my head. And eventually, I became through like by an accident, I became the artistic coordinator for our production of Hairspray.
Okay.
I think my art teacher was like, "Do you want to like paint sets for this?" And I was like, "Huh, yeah, sure." Because like I had like wimped out of auditioning at the last minute.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I was like, "Nah." So when he was like, "Oh, you know, you still would like have an opportunity to be like there," I was like, "Okay, maybe this is a little opportunity." I sent you the link, by the way.
Incredible.
So like he was like, so I
What's
go.
the thumbnail?
It's just the name. It's a graphic I made in After Effects with like default.
Oh, oh wow. There's a lens flare.
There's a lens flare.
In a photo.
Yeah, you know what it is.
You finish your story, then we'll play that.
Oh please.
I think actually this should underlay on loop. As we conclude.
No, it's too chaotic to talk over. But I just basically watching them like all night and all day, just like while I'm painting these sets, like they're so, because they're theater kids, so they're just so passionate about it. They're so like, oh yeah, theater.
The like eyebrow like twinge when you were like they're theater kids. I was like, yeah.
And of course there's they're theater kids, but also they're theater kids. They love what they do so much.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. Like, and also just seeing them progress from like, I mean, I don't want to say terrible, but the show was like a mess when it started, and it got so good, and I started to learn the songs because I had to hear them all the time. So eventually I was like, no, next musical, this is the end of junior year, so it was like senior year is my last chance. I have to do it. So I like at this point I was like starting to sing a little bit. I had like a friend who's in the musical kind of teaching me, just helping me find the ropes. And I, what did I do? Senior year. At this point, I'd been singing a little bit. I started writing some songs here and there, nothing too serious. But I was like, I'm going to do it. So this is like right when like Brendan Urie was doing his like stint on Broadway. So I was like, I'm going to do Soul of a Man.
The fact that this was the same time, like I was like a junior in college. Like
That's so weird. I was like, yeah, I want to sing this song. So I go and I give them the sheet music. At this point, I don't think I like knew how to read or write chords of the piano still, because they stopped for a very long time. So I'm not like 10 years worth of good at the piano. But I hand the guy the sheet music, and I was like, all right, here I go. I'm going to audition.
For what musical?
It was Urinetown.
Okay.
Which was very fun. And he plays it. I'm like shaking, like I sound like I'm vibrating as I'm singing, but
Natural vibrato.
So
But that was what they said. They're like, your vibrato.
Your vibrato is great. Like,
I was
thank you.
Okay. And I remember I finished the like 90-second bit I had, and like they both like put down all of their stuff, and I'm like, Dry, I'm furious with you right now. I was like, why would I do wrong? And they're like, you've been here for 4 years.
Yeah.
And you had that, and you never auditioned. And I was like, I didn't know. But
I'm sorry.
You enjoyed it. And I got the lead.
Awesome, wow.
I got really into singing after that. And that was like, it was like 3 years ago or something. And it all just rolled from there, I guess.
That's crazy. I would never have expected that, actually. Good for you.
This
That's
is the
cool.
same Urinetown you showed me on that like one trip up, like to Westchester.
Uh-huh.
That's Urinetown.
That's Urinetown.
It's fucking ridiculous.
I'm gonna play this right now.
Oh, I'm ready for this. I need to hear this.
Yeah, take notes,
I'm not.
Cole.
Is there a video, or is it just...
I think it's just a still graphic I made in After Effects.
You actually had After Effects, so
I had
that's
a lot
something.
of pirated software.
Is it coming through the audio? Wow. Here's the thing, it's not awful.
Like, well, I was expecting something really bad.
I mean, now that I'm
I
listening...
was expecting like, oh, this bitch found the synthesizers in GarageBand bad.
I mean, that...
I expected that.
To be fair, now that I'm listening to it, like, it sounds
It's not
pretty,
bad.
like...
You could put that in the back of, like, I don't know, like some kind of game, and I'd be like, yeah. That sounds like it should be there.
The drums are a little odd.
It's like surprisingly, what's the word? Like, not coherent, but like.
Musical.
Consistent.
I'd say it's musical.
It sounds
Poppin'.
musical. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
sound
good.
random, which is weird because it was random. I had no idea.
Moving to you.
It's me.
How did you
I
start?
am-
How
I'm
did
very
you start
interested
to
to hear
drum?
this.
How did I start to drum? I started to drum when.
Where are you from? What's your vibe?
Where are you from?
Well, now you're changing the question.
All right, start from your.
What's the root of your music?
Yeah.
The root of my music is escapism.
I see.
And we're gonna leave it at that because you know that I'm
How
not
long
going
you
into
been
all that.
drumming?
I have been drumming for probably like 13, 14 years.
Okay.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I keep-
Actually, I've been drumming since I was like 5. So what math?
No, that's 14 years. If you're 19, yeah.
I'm 21.
Never mind.
No, I'm not 21. Why am I 21?
You're
When was I
20.
21? I'm 20.
At Moot, you are.
Yes.
Ah.
That's math would say 15,
Yeah.
which is one more than what I said.
How did you get started?
I was told to be in band and I didn't know notes.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit things.
Okay.
And for a long time, I just hit things until I learned I can hit things with intention.
And that's just music.
Jesus.
That's the difference.
And then
between
once I learned I could hit things with intention, I remembered that I have 4 limbs. I can hit things at 4 times with 4
Intention.
intentions
That's true, actually.
in
Yeah.
certain rhythm patterns.
That's the difference.
You
between
can't see it,
music
but I'm
class
moving my hands
PE
and my feet at
class.
the same time,
Yeah, you can't
much
see
like
it.
a small turtle wafting across the sand.
On that note, we're gonna go into your second song, which I believe the first one that you guys played was "Marching Dolls," and then the second one you guys were gonna play or were slated to play was "City of Ashes."
Oh.
If you're still cool to do that.
Well,
Me telling you the set list.
I know. I just like threw everything onto a list and was like,
Here you go.
these songs. Yeah.
And then just shoot me today.
All right.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Can you give me a little? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay. Can you give me a little countdown?
Alright.
Wait, too fast. No, I mean tempo wise.
Alright.
Kerosene little lanterns, burnt to faded pages. Not a single star erases our sky tonight. The crickets have grown bored of filling our silent spaces. Losing time and gotta make this right. I sing this song to incinerate your skin. Just sing along, and before us from their ashes, a brand new city. I abandoned everything. I can't carry this team. March along in single file, surrendering their lives. Pitch black cloud, shadow the burning sun. But I won't let these vultures think that they have won. I'll be the last one standing when the end's begun. I'll hide away so I don't have to run. Switched it up a little bit there.
Get it up a little.
Yeah. You never know how that song will end.
We have changed the
Wrote
ending
it.
of that song for like
Doesn't
shows
know.
like 3 different times.
Yeah.
We've like cut the ending, we've cut the middle before. We've had the beginning flow from other songs.
Then mashups. Crazy.
It's the most malleable song.
We've bastardized that song.
I think we
go
just
ahead.
play it so much that, like, in order to not get bored of it,
Yeah.
just need to do something with it.
Understandable. How, or rather, where did that come from in the first place, the song?
The song. Well, it's a long-ish story, but basically it's from my first album, Great Tale of How I Ruined It All. And it's sort of it's a concept album.
Mhm.
And basically the idea is that this kid wakes up one day and this, like...
Oh, you're jumping my gun.
Huh?
Go for it. I'll reorganize.
Okay, I don't want to mess
No,
with
go
the
for
flow.
it.
But this kid wakes up and he finds out that this, essentially a cult, has like taken over his city and like wants their main goal, their like ideology is that, if they can sort of brainwash everybody into being the same, then that will like solve all of the problems they have with all of their differences. So I guess this song is sort of like a reaction to that, and sort of like it's like a very rebellious song, I think, and kind of like sort of like that knee-jerk reaction to like when somebody tells you you can't do something, I guess.
Cool. Okay. I actually didn't expect that to be the answer.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm gonna ask you more about the concept of the album in general in just a little bit.
Absolutely.
But the question I had next for you was, so we talked about like the fact that you wanted to do something comic-ish / like go into art in general. And so how did you find yourself? Obviously, you're a sophomore at Pratt Institute. That's how we met in the first place. You're a sophomore in film. You're a sophomore in animation. Junior in film. Sophomore in 2D animation. How did you decide to focus on art and then kind of like pursue that from there?
Well, I mean, I guess art was like always my first love, I guess, is like something I wanted to do. Like ever since I think I was like 5, I was like pretty set on it. I was like, I want to be like a visual artist when I grow up in some form. And that was like, that transformed from like wanting to be like an illustrator to like I wanted to do like comics, like graphic novels, and I started doing like freelance like my sophomore year of high school.
Cool.
And I did a lot of like, I still do, but I started doing a lot of like commercial illustration, and I was like, this is something like I enjoy and I'm like good at, and I'm able to make some amount of money. Like I feel like I trust this as like a career path.
Mm-hmm.
And I also just kind of did it to like convince my parents, I guess. Like they really were really hoping I would like grow out of the whole art thing.
Yeah.
Like they've always been really supportive of it as like a hobby, But then once like talks like started happening for college, they were like, so, like, what do you really want to do? And I was like, I think I really want to do art.
Ironically enough, it actually can make you more money than you think it can. I think people just think art, I could go off on a tangent about this and I'm not going to, but I think people think art is just like making your own paintings and trying to sell them, and that's so little of what like it actually
Exactly.
is. Like, do you know how much money they pay animators nowadays? I mean, like, hopefully, but like, you can make a design job, you can do whatever, like you can forge your way in this world by doing art and design and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No,
Something I didn't know before I got to Pratt.
you can do a lot. And it became like a thing, like especially in high school, when everybody's like working minimum wage jobs. Like at the time, even now, it's still like a very good job. You know, like I was making like definitely a lot more than I thought I would. And, you know, unfortunately, I didn't have the money management skills to come along with it. It all happened very fast. Like, I remember, like, I started doing it, like, the June after, like, my sophomore year, and immediately it was like, I'm going to buy a Cintiq. Like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
That was a good investment. I'm still using that Cintiq.
Yeah.
But, you know, I became, like, very just confident in, like, this ability to, like, you know, I didn't have any doubts that, like, art could be, like, a real path. You know, I was never, like, scared to go, like, you know, my parents were. But, like, I was never, like, scared to do it. So I really only applied to art schools. I applied to, like, 4 schools. I ended up, you know, kind of stuck between SVA and Pratt. And I ended up going to Pratt. Pratt was the only school I applied to for animation. Just because, like, I wasn't sure what the deal was with their ComD department. Which turns out
We still don't know.
Turns out nobody else knows either.
I graduated ComD, for anyone who doesn't know. It's in shambles right now. As much as the animation program also has its issues, the ComD department is just...
The comedy department's getting even worse.
It's literally not even a department anymore. Anyway, not to shit on Pratt. I had a great time.
Not to come for them.
I owe them money, but it's like, you know... But it was a great time, but also, yeah, their department. I'm glad you went into animation instead, because you can do illustration things still, like, by yourself, or, like, in comedy classes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was, like, the idea. I was like, I want to do something broader. I feel like illustration will, like, confine me, because I'm very much, like, a multimedia artist. Like, even since, like, middle school, I've always loved doing stuff in, like, After Effects or, like, video and all this other stuff. So it's like, I have to do more than just draw. So it's like, animation.
It's a good place to be for that.
Yeah, and now I'm here. And I just like telling stories. The whole music thing and all of it is just about telling stories. So it seemed like a good medium.
It is. I would say so anyway. You? How'd you get here? How'd you get to Pratt?
How did I get to Pratt?
How'd you make films?
So, I mean, I've always been into, like, experimental video stuff. I was, like, fucking around with the camera and then calling it art.
Yeah.
But, I actually got to Pratt because I was... this one summer I was doing nothing. I was told I had to do something. So I was enrolled in the pre-college program, went to pre-college, and then immediately just said, like, if I got there, I was going to go there. Because I don't know. There was just something good about it. All the flaws that Pratt has, it's
a good place to be.
It's still a good place to be.
Yeah. I was also...
Also, they have very
Were
big...
you really? What years were you in pre-college?
We were like 1 year apart.
We were 1 year...
But
He was the year right after.
2017.
No, I wasn't there. Were you the year after or the year before?
I was the year before.
Oh, then never mind. We wouldn't have caught each other. I did the RA pre-college, but I would have just have missed you guys.
Just missed this.
I also didn't work in Pantis, and I know they confined the boys to Pantis.
Oh, I was Pantis.
Oh, I know.
I commuted.
Oh, God bless you. You the whole time. Every time that I think about the fact that you commute from the Bronx, I'm like, Jariah's got a strength like nobody else does.
I commute from a couple
2 blocks
stories
away.
above, from not even 2 blocks away. I can see Willoughby out my window.
I hate you.
My commute's tough, man, okay?
It's
I gotta
tough.
go on a Pronto's run at some point.
Oh, yeah. Farmer in the Deli. Shout out to you.
Farmer in
man.
the Deli. I have a soft spot. Fuck you.
I have strong loyalty to Pronto.
I know.
Only.
Some people have for anyone who doesn't know, Pratt has like now 2 delis. Like they have more delis, but like 2
No, they have 2
specific delis around.
They have 2
Pratt.
delis and then people trying to survive.
Very true. There's Farmer in the Deli, which is right across. The thing is, when I was a freshman, sophomore, and junior, Pronto, or which used to be Pratt Gourmet Deli, did not exist. So
It also
we were
it
Farmers
didn't
in the
exist
Deli.
my freshman year either.
Yeah. So like,
it was being built as Pratt Gourmet, and I wasn't around for when they were Pratt Gourmet and then got sued.
Yeah. So Pratt likes to take down every place. There used to be Pratt Hardware,
Which
but
is
now
now
it's
Parts
Hardware.
But it's the same font, everything. They just moved the
They,
letters
actually-
around.
they changed it to just hardware now.
All right.
The
Well, like
parts- the
we
parts
know,
sign is gone.
Pratt has shut down so many
It's the
different
same
things.
font. They had to take down the font.
Yeah. So anyway, there's like an alliance to either Pronto or Farmer, and I have an alliance to Farmer. However, the people at Pronto are very nice.
That's
The
like
Instagram
my
is
family.
hilarious.
Oh my god.
They have a good
I love their
Instagram. They got a
Instagram.
solid
I ask them
Instagram.
to put me on there every time. Great Pronto story. So like the whole commuting thing, right?
Yeah.
How I go back and forth from
But you
the
must live there
Bronx.
then.
I do. And one time I remember, because this was like last semester. So like basically what I would do is I crash with like my friend Kayla a lot. So usually what I would do, like whether it's her or somebody else, I would usually call somebody like as I'm like finishing up my work, like, hey, mind if I stay at yours in like, an hour or so? And like, if it was Kayla, she'd leave the door open, but her door had this thing where it would like open all the way if you left it unlocked. So she'd have to like leave like a weight or something in front of it so it would stay open. So I remember I went one day, and I guess her roommates were like, what the hell is this? And they closed it. Everybody asleep.
Shit.
Couldn't get in contact with anybody on campus. So it was like 4 a.m. So I was like, where do I go? I go to Pronto. I go and I have my 4 a.m. breakfast. And he was like, hey, if you want to stay here, you can. So I was like, at this point, I'm like half asleep. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do anything. I have like work due tomorrow. So I just sat there for like an hour and a half. Like I just waited until the sun rose, and then I like eventually found my way to Myrtle Hall and just waited for class.
Then yeah, you really do have an alliance to them. They let you stay like when no one else would.
That's home.
Oh, my friend Olive, who also went to Pratt, said, love this Pratt discourse on the radio tonight.
Pratt discourse.
There is a lot of discourse to be had.
Yeah.
I don't have an alliance to either one, but I will say Pronto's does a better breakfast sandwich.
I don't eat meat, so that whole thing.
Well, then
like
why are you
cancels
going
out.
at all?
I used to. I don't eat. I'm vegan now, but I was vegetarian throughout most of college, and so I will say that once Pronto started up, they do make a better veggie sandwich because they have more vegetables than just lettuce and tomato. So they'd be like, we have avocado, and I was like, maybe my alliance has changed just a little bit, but.
There.
They're very nice, and like, but sometimes like when you're just like when it's 5 a.m. and you want yourself an egg and cheese, man, like something about Farmer is so much better.
Oh no,
but
I've been converted. Pronto's egg and cheese.
I mean, I think the quality is like almost like unarguably better at Pronto, but Farmer's just the more efficient option.
It's closer.
Pronto's
Also,
always...
it takes me I can walk into Farmer and 3 minutes later leave with my sandwich.
That's exactly
I
what
gotta
I'm
go
saying.
to Pronto, and by the time I leave, I'm 80 years old.
Yes,
Yeah,
I would
that's
agree
why
with
I
you
say
on
it's
that.
like visiting family.
Yep.
And it's like you're asking your mom to like make you something.
Mother, can you please make me a hungry man on a hero?
On that note, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna save this until a couple songs later. But if you want to do Not So Bad right now.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, this is a tough one. Whoa.
Ooh, this one's hard.
How do I even play this one? Hold on a second. Okay, we're gonna calm it down for this one, so my voice doesn't die. I'm not hydrated, so I'm gonna.
Dang.
I don't want to say calm, but we're gonna lower the key a little bit. All right, ready?
Yep.
Okay. But you're starting us off. Okay. All right, here we go. I may be wrong, but I don't
I'm just like here, just the one me, I always feel weird being like, yay!
I appreciate
And
it.
now
But
there's
I
silence.
wanna-
I must speak.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Okay, so what the fuck was that?
Anyways.
I'll let you guys drink for a hot sec because I know I should tell people to come prepared with water when they get here because every single person that I know who gets here will be like, "Damn, I'm thirsty."
Damn, I'm thirsty.
I'm like, "Sorry."
Damn,
So
I'm thirsty.
no, stop.
Hydration.
So on the next kind of topic, who are your musical inspirations and how did you get into
Who are
them?
you?
'Cause we talked about like the reggae with your father, and we know that you like emo music, but like who are your mains and how'd you get there?
Mains, man. I mean, well,
Cool design. Look at the design. It's cool.
right? No, that's
I'm
that's
allowed to appreciate good design. I'm an
That's
art
the
student.
first
God
thing
damn
I
it.
get it. I'm a designer. It's fine.
Saturn. So it all started. I think it all really started with emo music. The first band. Okay, actually, that's not
That's a
consistent.
lie.
It's not consistent with what I'm about to say. The first band I got into was the Black Eyed Peas.
Very emo.
Tell me they're not emo. If your favorite band isn't the if your favorite emo band isn't the Black Eyed Peas, you're doing it wrong.
And I
You're a
think-
fake fan.
I think looking back at it, that was when I started to discover like mixture of like pop and other things. Cause still now, I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So then, like from there, I was like, you can do that with all types of things. So I got into like Sum 41, and I got a little bit into like Simple Plan, and then it was like, I'm gonna pull up a playlist while I talk about it because I have like a thing to refer to for this exact.
Go
thing.
for it.
But I got so into Skrillex, like I said, and all these like electronic artists, like like Zomboy and like Knife Party and stuff like that. And I just got so into like anything that like was a combination of other things, really. And the way I got into emo music, because like I still to this day, my biggest influence is like Panic at the Disco and My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
This playlist.
I'm ready for. Oh no. Should I look? Animal I Have Become by 3 Days Grace, Monster by Skrillex, Out of Control by Hoobastank, Last Resort by Papa Roach. Yo, I'm gone.
Wait, what?
Wait, Blue by Eiffel 65. I don't even know this one. Is Dragos T Dinty by Ozone.
Dragon's Teeth?
Dragos they didn't is
Oh.
Let's Get It Started
that
by the
that's-
Black Eyed Peas.
That's the Numa Numa song from like middle school. It's originally
I'm
Romanian,
too old for this.
and to this day I know every word in Romanian.
The last one is Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger by Daft
That is a
Punk.
solid. That is solid.
It is a
though.
good song.
That's very
another
solid.
thing.
That was like an early meme back in the day.
It was
Yep.
Daft Hands, and I got
Oh yeah, you're right.
so into Daft Punk. I forgot about that. But yeah, and then it like I found Panic at the Disco through like the iTunes like front page like 69-cent songs,
Mm-hmm.
and I got into like them MCR. From there, all types of stuff. I got into everything. System of a Down. I've been getting really into like pop music a lot more recently, and
So have I. Maybe it's the turn of the times. Like,
maybe yeah, no, it's just a lot of fun.
you rarely mention Fall Out Boy.
Oh my god, you're right. Fall Out Boy. I think Fall Out Boy was like
He was like,
that. Yeah, no, that was like early middle school, but I was still getting into them during
yeah.
their like Save Rock and Roll era.
If you listen to my podcast,
I remember that. You
yeah,
were talking about it.
Yep. I was so not into anyone who's listened. I got into Panic, and then I was like, no, like Fall Out Boy. Patrick Stubbs' voice. I can't do it. And then I was like, I missed the boat on MCR, so like I just have to stay where I am. And then like obviously I'm wrong, but like got into Fall Out Boy through Nightcore, which was a nightmare. And then
That is some entrance.
I had an anime high school boyfriend, so that like kind of helped
Ah.
that. Yeah.
He's the one making the Nightcore.
I mean, debatable. Up for question. And then MCR was just because I was like, actually, my friend Olive, who I did a show with last week on 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. That was not even a word. 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, which is by My Chemical Romance. Yeah, we did the review of that, and she's kind of like the person who got me more into it. / just like, I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta go into it. But
Yeah, I used to listen to Olive's show also.
yeah, I love it. Shout out to Olive.
Shout out to
Olive Legace, one of the finest My Chemical Romance experts in all the land, in the tri-state area. I'm gonna go on to ask you about your first album that you released, which was you released it in August of 2018, The Great Tale of How I Ruined It All. It's amazing. It's an amazing album. It's very incredibly cohesive with your promotional art and your themes. Can you tell us more about the concept? Because you started.
Yeah. It's quite the concept. It's very, very angsty in hindsight.
He's like, yeah.
Oh no, I can't wait to get into like when we met.
I'm saving that stuff. I'm ready.
And I showed him this.
Hold no bar.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's about this cult story. You know, this kid wakes up and everything is different, and the idea really, it kind of just mutated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it grew into this situation where I was like 15 when I wrote it. I think in 2016. It seems like forever ago.
Yes.
And basically the idea is that he like loves this town and becomes so different, and just like he leaves, I guess. He kind of like decides, well, I don't want to be here. This isn't like an environment that like I can trust anymore. And he has this like sort of like big like pivotal moment where he's like, I don't really want to live my life on the run.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back and he's like, I'm gonna fix things. I'm gonna change it. And he immediately realizes that like he can't, and he gets so frustrated that he just destroys all of it. And that's like the whole thing. And he like kind of, you finish the album and it's like, well, now what? Now what about your city now? Yeah. It's gone.
Where did that kind of come from, like within you? Or what does it mean to you?
I mean, at the time, I didn't think it came from anywhere in me. I think the whole idea was like, I was like just having a really rough time with school. I mean, basically, I thought it was like, this is like the furthest thing from me. I'm going to write something that has nothing to do with me. And looking back at it now, it's like, this is like a very transparent reflection of my life in high school.
Metaphor.
I know. And
I can't help but be metaphoric.
I tried so hard to fight it, and it literally is just me in an album. And I basically, this is like, I felt really torn. Not even torn. I was like, I went to like a really like rigorous like college prep school. And it was like very academic focused.
Where'd you go?
I went to PunKrap.
Okay. Fancy name. I don't know of it, but
Fordham Preparatory School. It's the junior version of Fordham University.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah. And it was just super intense, and everybody's always just like, talking about like, how are you going to get into Harvard if you're not doing this and that? And it's like, I don't really like want to do this. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing anything here. I just want to make art, do my thing. And I just like had such a terrible like time trying to like make time to like fulfill myself when like the workload was just so intense as it was meant to be, and I was just like, I guess this is just like an unconscious like outlet for all of that, looking back at it now. So
that's cool that you actually had somewhere to put it, though, because like I have felt that way where I've like had too much to do and never taken on side projects for like all of high school and then all of college, and then now I'm like, oh, it's time to have a radio show.
Yeah. I don't even know how that happened, because like I never like, there was no real gradual build up into making the concept album. The first song I ever wrote was the fourth song in the album, and I was like, this would make a good like halfway point of a story. I should write that story. And I just wrote the album around it.
That's cool. No, I appreciate that. And how'd you come up with like the album cover?
The album cover.
Let me see if I can pull this up.
Ooh, graphics.
I might be able to.
Graphics.
You can.
You're getting graphic.
You can speak about it, and I'm gonna go and put it up on the screen behind it.
Okay. Yeah. So I went through a lot of designs, pretty much. Ooh, screen. I don't know. Cursor.
Can't touch it.
But the idea, I guess, was that I wanted something. Well, I mean, I was already like sort of building this visual like world, and by the time I designed the album cover, I had already released like 2 singles. So I'd established an aesthetic for it, and I wanted to create something that would be like simple enough that it would like read and then I could do a lot of art with it.
Yeah.
But also that would like look cool. And the piano was sort of like, I guess the idea is the protagonist is a pianist, you know? So it's this like old, like, you know, rustic looking piano in the middle of this like barren wasteland. And it's sort of meant to look like a pop-up book almost, I guess.
I see that.
And yeah, that was just the situation. I just wanted to create something that felt cohesive and fit the aesthetic, which I've adopted into my life aesthetic.
Really?
I've become
It
like
happened on the other computer, but not on this one. We can pull up Spotify, I guess. Well, there's Jiraiya.
Strange.
Oh, that is Drew. There we go.
There he is.
I don't know that I ever actually saw the. Can you hear me from here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that I ever actually saw the piano until right now.
Really?
But
Yeah.
That's rad. No, I've always been appreciative of like your consistency and your artwork.
Thank you.
And I have more questions about that, but I'm gonna return to my seat, so hold on.
The brand.
The brand. Brand consistency.
Build the brand.
Always.
Oh dear. Actually, on that note, I am gonna let you guys play the great tale of how I ruined it all.
Oh, wow.
If you're ready for
The
that.
timing of it.
The song?
Listen, I planned before you came
You
here.
did. Oh, man. I have a really funny podcast story after this song.
All right, I'm ready for it.
The opposite of this show. Okay.
What is the opposite of the show?
We'll get into it.
Whoa, whoa.
Okay.
Alright.
You want to count me in?
Yep.
All right. You made me for another minute or two. Please let me tell you how it ends. Hear the great tale of how I ruined it all. If you have the will to spend, oh, arms open, the tale of the sun has come to an end.
That key change, I was like, oh, okay.
I'm glad
Oh,
you
there it
noticed
goes.
the key
There
change. That's like my favorite part.
Literally, if I had been like on screen, you would have seen me go. So I appreciate
different
it.
notes?
Yeah.
So you are releasing your EP to Mend the Sun on March 27th, which is like literally a week from now.
Yes, I'm so
Um,
excited.
How was your recording process for that?
Recording process. Well,
Or like making process?
this is the first. So this is the first project I've worked on with Cole.
Hi, I am Cole.
This is post meeting Cole, and it was a lot. We set out to make this like huge like follow up to The Great Tale. Not follow up, but like I have a whole concept for a second album.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're already really deep into the second album. And throughout all of like last year, I guess, we were like, we're working towards, doing this like big 15-track album. And like, I think we both realized this isn't going to be done for a long time. And I was like, I cannot just disappear until 2021 or whenever it's done. So I had all these songs that I had already scrapped, from the album, and like stuff from like when I was writing The Great Tale. And it was like, I'll probably release this stuff as like a deluxe version or something like after. And then we also had stuff from The Great Tale we wanted to remaster. I'm gonna send that one off to you.
Where do I begin with this?
I guess The Great Tale.
Just with that?
Yeah, how that made its way back into the EP.
All right, so when I first met Jiraiya, I actually met you because of our mutual friend Luke, of which we actually are in another band with.
Yeah.
You stole my.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Moving that off to the side for a second. I was asked to on a set, just out of the blue. Hey, you want to go play with this band that I play with sometimes, and people scream and stuff? And I was like, yes, I will.
Yeah, I don't think I met Luke actually. Josh asked me the same thing. He's like, you want to come jam? And I was like,
Yeah.
jam.
Is Josh
it's
like Ava's Josh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, there it is. Okay.
There it is.
Josh guitars?
Josh.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Of which we also are in a band.
Billy, it's
But,
coming. Don't worry.
all right. Holding back those details. I think just by like because that was also like the first day you had come to jam with like Josh and everyone too, right?
Yeah, I didn't really know any of you.
It's like
very
just by
well.
some coincidence we both came to the same day. That
For
everyone
context, they were jam sessions. Like, wasn't it Prep Music Club, maybe?
Oh,
Or no?
you know
It was
what?
Pratt
Yeah,
Music
I
Club.
think I met Josh in
Okay.
the music club.
Yeah. Pratt has a very interesting niche, small music club.
You shouldn't,
Yeah.
but it do.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
But so I was there and we jammed out for a bit, and I ended up listening to some of your music from The Great Tale. And my only comment was I couldn't hear shit.
So yeah, I meet you. We find out we're into like similar music, and you're like, oh yeah, and I'm like kind of like a producer and like mix engineer. I was like, oh.
For context, I'm also a professional producer and mix engineer. So I said this out of like genuine, just like it happens, but I wasn't just being a bitch. I wasn't just being a bitch.
And I was like,
But,
God, you're right.
I couldn't hear the drums. How was I supposed to fucking practice for our shows when I can't hear even the drums in the track? But so that came around, and I convinced Jiraiya, well, somewhat convinced because it never actually happened, convinced him to do an entire remaster of the first album, and I'd do that for him. We realized that would not be possible because it's a long album.
Yeah.
In the midst of writing a second album, not gonna happen.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
So,
Unless
just
you
whittled
have
down
many
to
money.
whittled down to the few that really wanted to be remastered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes
and
sense.
put those along with some scrap
Some new
songs,
stuff.
develop those into like final things, and we're like, this is a project we can
Yeah.
release.
That's true. And you are. Would you like now for us to play the song that you're going to premiere tonight?
Sure. Yeah.
You're premiering. Go ahead. Gas your song up.
Okay, well, the song is called "Whose Eye Is It Anyways." It was called "Vengeance" for the longest time, which I
It
guess
still is Vengeance on the master track.
in our hearts, it will always be "Vengeance." I just had to give it a cool title for streaming services.
We are gonna play that right now. As long as you have comments, go for it.
I'll save the comments for after.
All right.
Let's just wait.
Listen on in. I don't know what to do with the cameras while we're like here. Maybe I'll
Just dance in the corner.
I'll put our logo over
I'll
it.
dance in the corner.
Okay.
No, I will do it. I'll do it.
All right.
Okay.
So whose eye is it anyway? We were waiting for a second because SoundCloud is really not trying to have me play this song right now.
Is SoundCloud ever trying to have you play
No,
anything?
it really isn't, unfortunately. So, because I have it up and it's plugged in.
I use SoundCloud exclusively so I can listen to shit on my headphones that I just mixed.
Yeah.
It's
nothing
okay,
more.
now it's playing.
And occasionally if I want to hear the first 3 minutes of Little Uzi.
This is... It's
Because
plugged
I'm not given a choice because it autoplays.
Interesting.
That one.
It's plugged in. I just don't know where it's going.
Where are you going?
Well, I guess in the meantime, I can just do the comments now.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no, Vengeance / Whose Eye Is It Anyways went
I
through.
thought you were about to say just like Vengeance slaps.
Slaps. Final comment. I mean, basically the idea is that it went through a whole bunch of like different iterations. It started as like a whole different thing, and eventually
I'm gonna play something just to see if it's my connection or if it's I'm gonna play something else of yours to see if it's the connection. It might actually be the internet.
Oh no.
Because I don't think that's playing right now. Oh, it is. What the heck?
Oh.
It's literally on. Okay. Anyway, go on. Continue.
That's weird. What was it? Yeah, I mean, I just like wanted to make something really jazzy. It actually just came out as like, since I used to write songs alone in my room, I would have these impromptu jam sessions.
There it is. Okay, go on.
Oh, okay. And I don't know, I'd basically turn on the mic and for 20 minutes just make noise and like play around with chord progressions, and I would like extract a song from it. And this is like a song that came out of there.
Oh, cool.
Threw some horns on it.
Yeah, whenever I hear like brass or like strings on a song from somebody I know like isn't a full like huge Panic at the Disco band, I'm like, where'd they come from? How'd they get them on there?
Virtually.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Virtually.
On that note, we're gonna play Whose Eye Is It Anyway?
Overflowing with these thoughts that if I return the favor you might understand. But I know you could never carry the burden you left with me, and I can't give it back. So I even try. I'm reeling from all of the pain. I feel it making me insane. And every night we all go blind and became too ill to cross that line with the dance that I'm blind and you're done like wine in the way that your crime sitting on your mind. Takes a night for a night and we all go If it's an eye for an eye, then we all go blind. If it came to it, would you cross that line with his ass up on your tongue like wine? And the weight of your crimes lay on your mind. An eye for a lie, is it in your back? Is it all I need? Is it all I have? Look, bring me the beast like me so desperately. Let's see. It's an eye for an eye, and we all go blind again.
Oh, there's more. I play the rest. You got the first 2 seconds leaked of that song.
Leaked up.
It's a good thing we practiced that
Don't worry, he
choreo
already
ahead of
leaked
time.
To be honest, listen, you can hear a lot more in that song. Like, yeah, good. The like brass as well as like also that like kind of scream in the like, you know, like the second. No, I'm sorry. The third, sorry, I'm not speaking words correctly. Like 3/4 of the way through the song, there's like this beautiful little screaming part that's like kind of in the back right there. It's really nice.
Oh, I don't know which part it is, but thank you.
Listening on headphones is definitely different. I was listening to this out loud, and now I'm much more hooked.
Oh, well, thank you.
Not that I wasn't before. However, it's very nice over headphones. Big fan. For anyone who doesn't know, we just played a song that now is
that so it's better on headphones.
Courtesy of
Fun
Cole.
fact.
new song. And now actually we're gonna jump into the. I know you and Cole are in another band, Whomst.
Humst.
And how did you guys? We already covered how you met, but how did you guys come to have another band together?
This is such a fun story. So basically that jam session, the day of reckoning.
And like both of our involvements like came from the fact that someone just asked like, "Hey, you want to just jam at one time?"
Yeah. So I
And
literally
we did, and we continue to do it,
yeah.
Still now.
And I think
and we still do.
pretty much. I literally showed up that day, and I like no idea what's going on. We're just jamming, and I think the singer at the time, Zach, good old Zach, bless his
He
heart.
wasn't even really the singer. He was also a guitarist, but he.
Well, he was the only person in the band who had any intention of singing.
Yeah, you're right.
No one else in that band would like dare open their mouth, which I think they should. But he was like, you know, I'm like the singer.
They
I guess.
will.
Like he didn't really want to sing. He was like more of a guitar guy. But you know, he was like really into blues and stuff. He had a very bluesy like, you know, voice and like
Does he go to Pratt too?
yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
So he was writing this song. He had these lyrics. He definitely was more of a poet, I think.
Okay.
You know, so like
He is a writing major.
yeah,
Still to
as
this
many
day.
writers are. So he comes in basically with this like big like, you know, he has like these lyrics, this whole song written, and no real like melody, I guess. And he was like, oh, you sing. Why don't you just like play around with this? And I go and I just like sing it a little bit. They give me the chords and I mess around and we're jamming on it.
Yeah.
And like I think like everybody in the room is just like, that's the song. And I was like, is it really? And they're like, yeah, that's it.
Rad.
So we decided like that would be the song. And like, do you want to sing the song? Like when we like play it and stuff. And then I was like, I mean, I don't know. Like I'm kind of doing this whole like solo project. And they were like, what
I'm
if you-
busy.
I mean, at the
I got
time,
things to be fair, like both of us, like, kind of went into Whomst. At that time, it was not called Whomst.
Oh.
That's a separate story. But like both me and him, like I had my own like solo stuff. I'm working on. You were working on whatever you were doing for like the last album you put out.
Yeah, and you
Both
were
of us
working-
kind of went in just like, this isn't being taken fully seriously, so we're going to be very tentative about
Yeah.
joining.
We're like, we're like guests in your band.
Yeah.
And eventually we just became full-fledged members. They were like, what about, do you want to sing this song when we record it and then perform it? And then I was
To
like,
be fair, like everyone just started taking it more seriously,
Yeah.
and that's when both me and
Yeah.
Jiraiya kind of like jumped in. Was like, yeah, if you want to take this seriously, we're recording a fucking 15 track.
Yeah.
album.
Recording an album. So eventually it was just this thing where we were both in it. And we're like, you know what? Let's really be in it. Let's do it, you know? In addition to everything else.
Yeah, literally. When can we expect more music from Who's?
Due to coronavirus.
Yeah.
Dude,
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, you do have
Production is being moved back.
for now. Well, because right now you have one song out whose name I'm looking up at the current, but you also, you also have this, because you're in it. So what's the song title?
Oh, Sunshine Rolling.
Thank you. I was like, it has the word sun in it, but I can't remember it for the life of me. So, and you guys also, didn't you just do Battle of the Bands?
We did.
Yes, we
Oops,
did.
Battle of the Bands.
Did you-
First Pratt Battle of the Bands.
Did you
Actually, no.
win?
Yes, we did win.
We won.
We won.
It
This was also Coom's debut performance.
Good.
Yeah. It was wild. I remember we were like...
First gig, won.
I know. What a good start.
Fuck out of
That
here.
is a good start.
Yeah, we were like backstage, I remember, and I remember we saw the last band play Fasting. We were like, oh god, they were
Yeah,
so
fuck.
good.
We lost.
Oh no. And I was like watching, because like I also like manage, like I'm the president of the music club, so it was like I want to see the votes like as they're voting, and everyone was like, stop looking at the votes.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
No, Josh was going around hounding you, you better not look at the page. And then and then me and Luke were standing in the back, just kind of downtrodden because the one time you did look, Fasting was ahead by a decent amount.
we're just seeing
So,
all these votes.
Me and Luke were just
nope,
sitting in the back, just we did our best. Maybe we can get the judges' vote. Josh just comes running up the stairs from backstage, just what the fuck are you guys doing? We're on. It's excuse me, what? We're on, and we didn't know we won yet, but he said it as if we were supposed to know.
Oh,
Yeah. And
congrats,
then,
though.
yeah, and backstage as they're announcing it, we found out we got the judge vote and the audience vote.
wow.
So we
Actually,
had
we
this-
did not know we got the judge vote before we were all on stage and they were just about to draw the curtain.
Yeah.
We were given that news when the announcer on the other side of this curtain said, by unanimous vote.
Yeah, and we were going crazy.
It's
right
wait,
now.
what?
It's
What happened?
what?
That's awesome. How many bands were there? 4 or 5?
There was supposed to be 5, but
There
there
was
was
supposed to be
3 because of
5.
dropouts.
Yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, but still a very exciting thing.
It was still a fun
and
time.
as as just being an organizer for the event too, it was such a big just labor of love from everybody, and it ended up being pretty successful. We're really happy with how the whole thing came out. You know,
Good turnout?
Good turnout, way better than I thought.
Cool. Because
You
it was
know.
in Memorial?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Memorial Hall. I was really worried we'd have this big empty room with 20 people, but people came and they they voted. And it was a lot of fun.
People really do be showing up to things at Pratt sometimes. Whenever something's thrown in
Sometimes,
yeah.
Memorial Hall, Drag Race goes
Drag race.
off, bro. Did you go last year?
Yeah,
Oh my god, it's so much fun. They
it's great.
actually people at Pratt students do drag, and then they also have some crazy real drag performers come in and do. They had Miss Cracker
Miss
when I
Cracker
was yeah.
came, yeah.
Crazy. I was like, how did you guys get? That's so
And
wild.
My whole thing is basically I was oh, well, the drag thing is gonna be soon. If we're gonna be in competition for
Yeah.
attendance, people will only go to so many things within a month.
If it was a week, it was a Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will go. People get tired and want to do something that's not just their
True.
work. Specifically around this time of year, it's a great time to go to
Yeah.
things.
It was
Yeah.
just as midterms were coming up.
Yeah, it gets hard, but good that you had a good turnout. That's awesome,
Yeah.
and that you won. Congrats.
A lot of fun.
We're gonna. So you guys stuff on the horizon for Whomst. As soon as
Yes.
coronavirus stops.
As soon as we can actually start
Yeah.
working on it.
Well, I'm
I mean,
excited
this
for
gives me
that.
a lot of time to record every single live drum track.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it gives
true.
me time to do keys and some vocals. I think at home.
Because we
Well,
can do
listen,
those at home.
Come
but-
back, when you have the rest of your Whomst.
All right, we'll bring
Oh,
5
let's
people.
bring
we'll
the
bring
band
5
in.
people
you
into
literally
this-
can. To be honest with you, we put you in the
into this
corner.
lovely room.
We
All these
aim.
chairs.
I'll just be over there because
That's what we did sometimes with cajones. Sometimes we didn't have enough room with other band members, so you put the cajon over there and you aim a camera at you.
was sitting over there just being I know every single one of you fucked up the 4 count at one time.
Well, we could put the
To a
rest of them
point
over
that it's
there.
become a joke. The 4 counts become a joke.
Sorry. On that note,
Yeah.
do you guys want to play Split?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we can do a
yeah.
4 count at the split.
Oh man.
that's also-
This is,
Is that also off of the new one?
no,
that's
this
off
one's
of the
actually
new.
off of the next album.
Oh,
It's off of album
shit.
2.
We're getting. Do we have a name for that yet, or no? Or
For the next album, no.
Okay.
but-
Untitled now album 2.
Yeah.
The great tale of how I made a second album.
And the only
By
reason we're
Uriah Clark.
playing it is because like once we finished it, we were just I think so excited about it that we're like it's going in the live set.
Cool.
So we've already played it like a bunch of times now.
Dope. All right, I'm excited.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Savagery, intensity, in which my brain would come and kill me. Stop, I want to get to do. Lifting up her effervescence, presence, panic, pulse, antidepressants. Acutely polarizing, I think it just might kill me. Split the things that she's been through. Perpetuate her all or nothing, hating, loving, always something uninteresting. So, leave the blade behind, recite the chorus alive. A line for BD, simulate my every need, whether powdered or pilled, whether powdered or pilled. A thought I'll insist the prescription isn't filled. Oh, powdered or pilled, whether powdered or pilled. My head begins to fall apart. I kill my brain and trust my heart. Love's a temperamental art to know where the hate starts. I have had a thing to smile about since I was lost if in the time of having any hope of becoming not so hopeless. You're all I've gotten this eternal hell. You're all that makes me well. You're all that makes me well. You're all that makes me, all that makes me hate the way you're doing it with you. The only one who makes me touch lemons and despise. You ain't no friend of mine. A subtle change in time, but true tastes like wine. So leave the bleed behind and recite the chorus line. Lying for BD, simulate my every need, whether powdered or pilled, whether powdered or pilled. The thoughts say I'll insist the prescription isn't filled. Oh, powdered or pilled, whether powdered or pilled. My head begins to fall apart. Kill my brain and trust my heart. Love's a temperamental art, so know where the hate starts. My sight's divided once again. Who's a foe and who's a friend? Cut me open, fix the lens that makes me think I must offend. And if that is not enough to make me who I wanna be, leave me here and let me be. Lying for BD, simulate my every need, whether powdered or pilled, whether powdered or pilled. Thusly I'll insist the prescription isn't filled. Oh, powdered or pilled, whether powdered or pilled. My head begins to fall apart. Kill my brain and trust my heart. Love's a temperamental art, so know where the hate starts.
I like the like pause in the middle from the quiet to then like the explosion of it. Yeah, I'm not great at speaking about music because I feel like a dumbass. Like I'll be like,
I like the
you know that
not-
part.
I like the part where there's nothing and then there's a lot
There's
of
something.
But I think that's
Basically.
really the
Trust
essence
me,
of it. You
trust
know?
me, that lingo does not stop.
I like it when
Carries
it does
over.
this.
This
yeah.
is my job, and I do constantly say this. Like, I like the part where there's nothing and then everything happens.
I like manage a band, so there'll be times where I'm like, it sounded good at the, the part with the lot of it.
That part.
Yeah.
We'll be at practice, and I'm like, the violin at like halfway through. that's
think it's-
So
all
we
I
have a
got.
violin in halfway through?
Me in my band, yes, there is.
I think that's the most important part, you know? It's like, if it doesn't mean anything to, like, an actual listener, then, like, does it mean anything?
Yeah, it's
I
true.
don't know.
If it's so unattainable, then like why? It's not.
It's just so people behind the board know what you're fucking talking about.
Yeah, basically.
And even then, they don't even use the language.
That's true, actually. Can you go about your process of like writing or composing a song? Either one of you.
I don't know. I think we both have. I don't know, actually. I don't know your process.
We have relatively different processes. For
Alright,
a lot of
you
Dry's
start.
music, it starts with Dry.
Yeah, okay, so I'll talk about that first. I mean, the way I usually write songs is, so far with the last album and with everything, it's always been sort of concept driven.
Mhm.
So there's always like overall story that I want to talk about, and I'll usually take whatever is before it was like unconsciously, now it's more mindful. I'll kind of take like what's relevant to me and how can I work that into the story, or what's happening in the world, and how can that be relevant to this made up world I've created. So I usually will know what the song is about, and I might like write some lyrics just about something I'm feeling, or an idea, a story. A lot of the time I'll just be sitting somewhere, I'll be on the subway, and I'll look at somebody and be like, oh, that guy has a cool hat, I bet he does something interesting for a living.
Yo, I do that all the time.
Right?
My notes are just full of people, like, with their outfits and stuff. Anyway.
And I'll like basically like write a song like about that person, and it will become a thing, and I'm always just coming up with little musical bits and like chord progressions, and like I'll stumble across something and be like, save that, or I'll like record it and throw like an instrumental on it. So like some songs will already have like an instrumental before it even is a song. So a lot of the time writing a song is just matching stuff up, taking an idea, sitting down and being like, all right, it's time to stop doing ideas and come up with real songs. And I'll be like, which things in my like Google Docs are gonna go into this instrumental, and back and forth until eventually I've sort of matched everything and crossed it into like a series of songs.
Yeah, I always ask just because like a lot of people have said the same thing, where they're like, oh, I have like bits and pieces and I just kind of like puzzle piece them together. But then I have other people who are like, I start with the lyrics and that's it, and then like I go from there. Like the last person I had on here like doesn't know how to write music necessarily, like write music. So she like starts with lyrics, and then she'll be like, hey, trumpet person, can you play this? And then
so
like they'll go from
Yeah.
there. But like knowing that you have like a background of like piano and like guitar and like what else can you play?
I mean, I guess ukulele.
I guess it's been the whole podcast.
I don't know what this thing is.
The guitar one's
I
pretty...
touch it and it makes noise.
Yeah. The guitar one's pretty new, actually. That just started.
Good.
But I will say one thing about my process, which I think is maybe very different from yours, is it's always sound driven. I mean, you are a sound engineer, obviously. But like, I think
I
definitely...
like making silent music.
No matter...
It's a subgenre of noise music. But the opposite.
I think just as like a lifelong lover of pop music, like regardless of what I'm making, I think it always, in my head, I want it to be at least a little catchy. I always want it to like sound, have like a lot of singability and like recallability, So like even when I'm not writing a pop song, I think those like essentials, like repetition and like motifs and all that are like still kind of ingrained into my head. Where like this has to sound nice, before anything else.
Cool. What about you? And we got the quick, because we got like 15 minutes left.
Oh, wow.
So my process comes from me fucking around. Like a lot of my inspiration comes from, like when it comes to music as a whole. Like I'm a huge Daft Punk person. I'm a sucker for like Mute Math.
Okay.
Like a lot of like nostalgic synth stuff, and a lot of my music comes from, I do write like phrases, everything, and then try to like extract the emotion of that phrase in an entire like piece, and then write more about that phrase over that piece.
That's cool.
A lot in
I've never heard that.
synthesizers.
All right.
Synthesizer man.
On the synthesizer note, not that this has anything to do with that, but just moving on to the next one, because I do want to keep our time in check, but that is very interesting. The next song that you had up to play was Catch Me If You Can.
Oh,
so
interesting.
what do you mean interesting? You wrote the set list.
Interesting. That sounds like a fun song to play. How does it go?
Really interesting that I chose that one. I don't know why.
Could I get a moment to review my track?
Go for it.
Okay.
catch me, misplace and mismatch me. Your shoes are nice, but you never harass me. Find me, I'll dare you to try. I better my survival, but now you're gonna die out there. Whoa, suddenly I feel like I'm invincible, needle and hay. Detachable from all the wicked things in this place. It's a miracle that I got out of bed every day. Before I knew how to live to savor this day. I'm taking off to my own grave. I'm running away. So watch me disappear before your catch me, misplace and mismatch me. Your shoes are nuts, but you'll never harass me. Find me, I dare you to try. I better my survival, but I ain't gonna die out there. So catch me if you can, catch me if you dare. Venture through the fog and you'll see what's fair. Catch me if you can, catch me if you dare. You'll find me through the fog and the filthy air. Catch me, misplace and mismatch me. Your shoes are nuts, but you'll never harass me. Find me, I dare you to try. I better my survival, but I ain't gonna die out there.
I think that's one of my favorites actually.
Thanks.
So I can kind of like this to it.
You can't really just bop around to the other ones.
I guess
This one I'm
not.
like, I was
This is-
watching also like the music video. I did my preparation for this.
Oh wow.
And
Preparation.
I know that the album
I
came out on
listened to
the
some of your
August
tracks,
28th.
Jerry Ha, before
Yeah.
you came in.
I mean, hey.
I
Yeah,
did
it
do
was
that.
the first song I ever released.
That's crazy, actually. And you had a whole ass music. Like the fact that you do all this, I think, independently is what really like marvels me about like you / like people who do independent stuff in general. So, good on you.
It's a fun time.
That's a lot of like passion to have, and like follow through to have. I think is a lot of something that people don't have a lot of the times. So, I commend you for that. Speed round for both of you.
Speed round.
Favorite song to play live
Oh, like our like
of
my
yours?
songs?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh man. Not so bad, maybe.
Okay.
Or
What about
Split.
you?
Oh, not so bad's good. Fuck.
Tip of the tongue.
Not really. City of Ashes.
Ooh.
What has
Actually,
been
no.
All right.
I can't even say which one it is because we haven't released it technically.
Oh man.
unreleased song? His favorite
Unreleased song
play.
is my favorite to play.
What has been your favorite show or venue to play?
Because,
Gold
I
Sounds.
want to say Gold Sounds. We had
Even
like
though we fucked up our last
we
show.
had a rough experience last time. But
Where
Gold
was it?
Gold Sounds Bar. But that's home still. I love that place.
Okay. Why?
Why do I love it?
Yeah.
It's a great venue.
They want us back.
They allow
That's
us.
that's the real reason.
They allow us to do our super tiny shows that make
Yeah.
like barely any money. And,
Where is this?
This is in Bushwick. It's
Okay.
actually pretty close to Pratt.
Okay.
It's like
Bushwick is such a place for like little bars that'll let you do your sets, like
Right?
regardless. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have
Yeah.
like a really good like setup. You know, they have lots of good equipment. Good. You know, you feel like. You know, even if it's like a really tiny show, you feel like you're doing a real show because
Cool.
it's like a stage and has like a little like green room. So I like it a lot. It's
Yeah.
nice.
That's awesome. What about same place?
Yeah, it's Gold Sounds.
Okay.
Gold Sounds was kind of cool.
Dream show or venue to play?
Ooh.
Mm.
Like either
Oh.
now or like hella future. One of the two.
All right, I got two answers. Obviously, the cliche answer, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like a classic. I really do love that venue. Just besides the fact that it's really big, it's
Yeah.
just like a beautiful place.
Hit up MCR and open for them.
Hey, but big one. I like my dream is to play Webster Hall.
Yeah.
I love that
I get why.
place. I've gone to so many shows there, and that's like that's like a real thing. I'm like actively like every day. I'm
Pursuing.
like, how can I get closer to playing Webster Hall?
Here's the thing. That's actually super feasible. Like
I
once
hope
this
so.
all this
There's
bullshit with the
actually a
world
point
goes
where we were
away.
considering seeing if we could possibly get Webster Hall.
Were we?
Yeah, at one point.
Well,
It is truthfully, it's actually super feasible for you to try to like reach for that though. Like now, like you get like a little bigger, you find like a band who needs an opener, a local opener,
Hey, we're
you're set to go.
working on it.
Yeah, good. I want to see that happen. You, what's your ultimate goal?
I mean, like, Webster Hall's pretty good, but, like, what if we were, like, to perform, like, a pirate ship in the Hudson?
Oh man, Paramore does their cruise tour. That would be fun.
No, I mean, like, it's only us on this boat. We are captaining this boat, and in between having to pilot this boat, we play a song or two.
we should do that now.
Rose at the waterfront.
All right, next one. Dream collab.
Oh god, I mean, it
Like
has to
super
be
unrealistic.
have
Yeah.
to be either Brendan Urie or like Gerard Way.
Yeah.
Both like idols. Would love to work with either of them in any capacity.
You.
John Bellion or Daft Punk.
All right. Yeah. Good choices. And last of my questions is, what is the best show that you've personally been to?
Oh, been to. Easy. Panic at the Disco. January, I think 2019, last year, actually.
Where?
Oh, it was either Barclays,
Barclays?
or Madison. I think it was Barclays.
I think it was Barclays. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most incredible show I've been to because he's just such a performer.
It was Pray for the Wicked leg 2. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
too. I went to like every time they came back on during that tour,
Mhm.
but that show in particular, I mean, I could just tell he was so amped about it.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, dude, we're putting all this cool stuff," and like you could tell he was just like over the moon for
Yeah.
that show, and you felt it. And also 21 Pilots.
Yeah.
Last time I saw them and Bandito tour,
MSG
he-
or Barclays.
Barclays also crazy.
They're good regardless. They're
very good
crazy.
live.
What about you?
I was also going to say 21 Pilots show.
Yep.
However, it was way back, and they actually did a secret show after they played our show in New York, and they
Oh.
played at, like, in the green room, and there was people who, like, stayed afterwards.
dope.
Oh my god.
This was
Wow.
when they can get away with that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. They like something I regret
This
all
was like
my life.
this was like right after Vessel release.
Okay, then yeah, yeah, yeah.
They can get away with it.
I want to be at that concert that 21 Pilots opened for Fall Out Boy and
Tour for,
Panic.
I was at Tour for
Right?
Concerts.
Boy,
Oh
I
my
went to
god.
Tour for
Wait,
Concerts.
can I do an honorable mention?
yes.
Young Blood.
He's so good,
He's
bro.
so
He's so
good.
good.
And what's so fun about that show is through just circumstances leading up during the day, errands, I had my laptop on me.
He no longer
That
has this
laptop is no longer
I
with
literally
us.
can't.
But it was so worth it. Wildest.
No, it
most
wasn't.
ridi-
It wasn't worth
it
your
was
entire
worth
laptop.
It was worth. It was like one of the best shows. It was like incredible.
He's coming to the Starland Ballroom on May 9th. I'm going alone. If you want to come, please come.
I didn't know
yeah.
he was back in the States so soon.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm seriously like, that's a real offer. On that note, we do have to start to wrap up. So you guys have one more song, which is Reverse. You want to go ahead and play?
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Oh, no water.
I'll go grab you some during your last song.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. We got to keep the people not thirsty out here. All right, go.
Okay. I'm only here to kill my own confusion. I found a back door with no solution. Lying here while the sands fall down. Won't heal my ends right now, or their blue contusions. I'm on a hellbound elevator. When I got on, I never planned for it to be this way. I burnt out the inside me. Now my skin is scorched to ashes, and I'm burning in the flame. I wish I could reverse and stop the hourglass, because the earth is spinning round the sun too fast. A dead end awaits this pointless track. I'm thinking I might get off and just turn back. Oh, I'm starting to see that the world is gonna end without me. I don't wanna let this pass me by. I don't wanna die here in this hole. I won't fade away. I'll terminate my soul. I wish I could reverse and stop the hourglass, because the earth is spinning round the sun too fast. A dead end awaits this pointless track. I'm thinking I might get off and just turn back. Then a fire started in the hallway, and the smoke rose to the sky. I looked inside myself and asked my God, if ashes turn the cities and stars into the moon, then why am I inside of my own mind? I wish I could reverse and stop the hourglass, because the earth is spinning around the sun too fast. A dead end to waste this pointless track. I'm thinking I might get off and just turn back. I wish I could reverse. My time is running out, because these words, they burst and scorch inside my mouth. I'm mashing the buttons on the wall. I'm realizing that this car only goes down.
He had me almost laughing at the end. I was like, no, I can't. So good. There was like this little part, and I can't do it now, but you like did this little like up. Again, I
Blue
can't. But it was like it went like really nicely up, like very gradiently.
nicely up.
I always go to describe things with like my art thing, so I'm like, it was a nice gradient from like one note to another, and then I'm like, no.
Still kind of applies. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it does. But anyway, great. Thank you so much for being on here, both of you, and for traveling all the way out from Brooklyn to the Bronx. So like,
Yeah.
really appreciated this time.
Thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely.
This is so much fun.
Please like come back anytime you want. You want to do like an album review? Like, please just let me know.
Oh my god.
Yo, I'd be
this is
down
so
to do an album review.
You pick one that I know. Like, yeah,
All right.
we'll go for
I'd
it.
be down for it.
It's
Oh my
been go
God.
listen on Spotify. Like, you'll know what the kind of like gist of the like shows are with the album reviews, and come through. Contact
Yeah.
me.
Wait, you haven't done the Black Parade yet, right?
No. We just did Three Cheers for Sweet Sweet
Cheers.
Revenge. I have to wait a little bit on another My Chemical Romance one.
Absolutely.
So like come back
We
to
can
me
do
in like
a
September.
vessel.
I would do it
I'd be
actually.
down.
Come through, let me know. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please come back whenever. New EP by Jiraiya, To Mend the Sun, out on March 27th, 2020.
Our
That's
child.
That's like what? Friday? Next Friday?
Next
Oh.
Friday.
Rad. All right. Go listen on
Listen to my
Spotify.
boy.
Anywhere else? Apple Music.
Amazon, Spotify,
Deezer.
Tidal,
These are the rest of the places you can stream music.
Bandcamp,
Yes.
all of that.
Bandcamp. Support your local musicians,
Google
specifically
Play
during
Music,
this
we're
time.
valid.
Yep, true. Thank you guys so much for coming. This is PunKrap, etc. I always fuck that up. PunKrap, etc. on Gov's Comedy Club Radio. You were listening to. I'm MJ. This is Jiraiya. That's Cole. Thank you guys.